They say blood is thicker than water. But I learned the hard way that blood can also run cold. Ice cold. The kind of cold that seeps into your bones when you're lying in a hospital bed, staring at your phone, watching it not ring. I'm going to tell you about the year I died and came back to life. Not literally, though there were moments I wished for that mercy. No, I died in a different way. I died to the people I thought would catch me when I fell. And when I came back different. Stronger. And yes, vindictive. My name is Sarah, and this is the story of how my family abandoned me when I needed them most, and how I made every single one of them pay for it. But let me take you back to the beginning, before the diagnosis, before the betrayal, when I was still naive enough to believe that family meant something. I grew up as the responsible one. You know the type. The kid who got straight A's not because they were naturally gifted, but because they studied until their eyes burned. The one who remembered everyone's birthdays, who mediated fights, who took care of mom when dad left, who helped raise their younger siblings when they should have been living their own life. My older sister, Victoria, was the golden child. Beautiful, charismatic, married to a successful lawyer named Derek. She had the perfect house in the perfect neighborhood, 2 perfect children, and a perfect life that she never let us forget about. Every family dinner was a performance of her success. My younger brother, Marcus, was the baby. Spoiled, entitled, always in some kind of trouble that mom would bail him out of. At 32, he was still finding himself, which apparently required living in mom's basement and borrowing money he never paid back. And then there was me. Middle child. The glue. The one who showed up. The one who helped mom with her medications, who drove her to doctor's appointments, who grocery shopped for her every week. The one who loaned Marcus money I'd never see again. The one who babysat Victoria's kids whenever she needed a self-care day. I worked as a nurse practitioner at a community health clinic. It wasn't glamorous, but I loved it. I loved helping people who had nowhere else to go. I lived in a modest apartment, drove a used Honda, and had a small circle of friends who actually gave a damn about me. I thought I was happy. I thought I had everything figured out. I was 38 years old when my body decided to betray me. It started with a lump. I found it in the shower on a Tuesday morning in March. My fingers brushed against something that shouldn't be there, something hard beneath the soft tissue of my left breast. My heart stopped. As a medical professional, I knew what this could mean. But as a human being, I did what so many of us do, I pretended it wasn't there. For 2 weeks, I lived in denial. I told myself it was probably nothing, just a cyst, maybe a fibroma. I was too busy to worry about it anyway. Mom needed me to help her with her taxes. Marcus needed me to co-sign a loan. Victoria needed me to watch the kids while she went on a spa weekend with her husband. But the lump didn't go away. And soon, there were other symptoms. Fatigue that hit me like a truck. Night sweats that left my sheets soaked. A persistent pain that radiated through my chest and into my arm. I finally made an appointment with Dr. Reeves, a colleague at the hospital. I remember sitting on the examination table, the paper crinkling beneath me, trying to maintain my professional composure while my hands shook in my lap. "How long have you known about this?" she asked, her face carefully neutral. "A few weeks," I admitted. She didn't say anything, but I saw the flicker of concern in her eyes. She ordered a mammogram, then an ultrasound, then a biopsy. Each test felt like a door closing, like walking down a hallway that only went one direction. I didn't tell anyone. Not yet. Maybe I was still hoping it would turn out to be nothing. Maybe I didn't want to worry anyone. Or maybe, deep down, I already knew that I was going to face this alone. 3 weeks later, I sat in Dr. Reeves' office, and she spoke the words that split my life into before and after. It's stage 3 invasive ductal carcinoma. Triple-negative breast cancer. Aggressive. The room tilted. I heard my own voice, distant and professional, asking questions. "What's the treatment protocol? What's the prognosis? What are we looking at for survival rates? She answered patiently, compassionately. Chemotherapy. Mastectomy. Radiation. Clinical trials if we needed them. 5-year survival rate hovering around 70% with aggressive treatment. 50% if it spread before we caught it. I was in the 30% that had it worse. I walked out of that office in a daze. I sat in my car in the parking garage for an hour, staring at the concrete wall in front of me, and I cried. Not delicate tears, ugly, gasping sobs that felt like they were being ripped from somewhere deep in my chest. I cried for the life I'd built, for the future I'd planned, for the children I'd never had, for the simple stupid luxury of waking up healthy and taking it for granted. And then I dried my eyes, looked in the rearview mirror, and made a decision. I was going to fight. And I was going to need help. I called my family. Mom answered on the 3rd ring. Hi, honey. I was just about to call you. I need you to pick up my prescriptions tomorrow if you have time. Mom. My voice cracked. I need to talk to you about something. What's wrong? Are you crying? And I told her. Every word felt like swallowing glass. The lump. The tests. The diagnosis. The cancer. There was silence on the other end. Long enough that I thought we'd been disconnected. Mom? Oh, Sarah. Her voice was small. Scared. Oh no. Oh honey, no. I'm going to start treatment next month. I'm going to need some help. Can you? Of course, of course. We'll figure this out. Let me call Victoria. Let me call Marcus. We'll all be there for you, sweetheart. You're not alone. I believed her. I called Victoria next. She answered while clearly at lunch somewhere, the background noise of a restaurant making it hard to hear. Hey, what's up? I'm out with the girls, can I call you back? Vic, I have cancer. Silence. Then, what? I explained again. Triple negative. Stage 3. Aggressive treatment starting soon. Oh my God, Sarah. Oh my God. That's... I don't even know what to say. More silence. Look, I'm here for you, okay? Whatever you need. I have to go, but I'll call you later. I love you. She didn't call later. Marcus was last. He didn't answer. I left a voicemail. Hey, it's me. Something's happened. I have cancer. I need you to call me back. He texted 3 hours later, shit sis. That sucks. Feel better. Feel better. Like I had the flu. My first chemotherapy session was on a Thursday in April. I'd spent the previous week trying to prepare, stocking my freezer with meals, setting up a station by my bed with water and medications, buying soft hats and scarves for when my hair fell out. Mom said she'd come to the first appointment. I waited in my apartment that morning, already nauseous from the anti-nausea meds they'd prescribed. She was supposed to pick me up at 9. By 9:30, I called her. Oh honey, I'm so sorry. Marcus had an emergency. His car broke down and I had to go get him. I can't make it today. But Victoria said she'd come. Victoria hadn't said anything to me. I called her. Straight to voicemail. I drove myself to the cancer center. I checked in at the desk, got my wristband, and sat in the infusion chair by myself. The nurse, a kind woman named Patricia who reminded me of my grandmother, hung the 4 bag and inserted the port into my chest. Is someone coming to pick you up after? She asked gently. Yes, I lied. The chemicals dripped into my veins for 4 hours. I watched the clear liquid merge with my blood and wondered how poison could save you. Other patients had visitors. Spouses holding hands. Children reading books aloud. Friends bringing flowers. I had my phone. I scrolled through social media and saw Victoria had posted photos from a brunch. Mimosas with my girls. Hashtag blessed, hashtag self-care. The treatment made me sick within hours. I spent that night on the bathroom floor of my apartment, vomiting until there was nothing left, my whole body shaking. I called Mom at 2 in the morning. Sarah, honey, I can't come over right now. I have to get up early tomorrow. Take some Zofran and try to sleep. I didn't sleep. I lay on the cold tile and wished for morning. Over the next 6 weeks, the pattern became clear. I would reach out. They would have excuses. Mom couldn't drive me to appointments because her back hurt, or she had a church meeting, or she was helping Marcus with something. But she still expected me to fill her prescriptions and help with her bills when I could barely stand. Victoria was always too busy. Her kids had activities. Derek had work functions. She had her book club. She'd promised to visit, then cancel at the last minute. I'm so sorry, Sarah, but you know how crazy my schedule is. Marcus disappeared entirely. He stopped responding to texts. The one time I managed to reach him, he said, "Look, I don't know what you want me to do. I'm not good with sick people. It's depressing. The chemotherapy ravaged me. My hair fell out in chunks, clogging the shower drain. I'd stand there, naked and bald, watching parts of myself wash away. My weight dropped 30 pounds. My skin turned gray. My fingernails became brittle and started to peel off. I developed mouth sores that made eating agony. I kept working as long as I could, but eventually, I had to take medical leave. My colleagues were more supportive than my family. They set up a meal train. They visited. They sat with me during treatments when they could. But it wasn't the same. They weren't family. They weren't the people who were supposed to love me unconditionally. My 39th birthday fell 3 months into treatment. I'd had my 4th round of chemo 2 days before. I was weak, sick, and so tired that breathing felt like work. I didn't expect a party. I didn't expect much of anything. But when my phone stayed silent all morning, something inside me started to crack. By afternoon, I called Mom. "Oh honey. Happy birthday. I'm sorry I didn't call earlier, I've been so busy. How are you feeling?" "Not great." My voice was flat. "Well, that's to be expected. Listen, about your birthday. Marcus needs help moving this weekend and I thought maybe you could." "You thought I could help Marcus move?" "Mom, I can barely get out of bed." "Well, I just thought. Did you bake me a cake? Did anyone get me a card?" Silence. "Sarah, don't be dramatic. You're sick, we didn't think you'd want to celebrate." I hung up. My hands were shaking so hard I dropped the phone. At 6 p.m., Victoria posted a photo on Facebook. It was her, Mom, Derek, the kids, and Marcus, all gathered around a table at a nice restaurant. The caption read, "Family dinner. So blessed to have these people in my life." Red heart. They were all together. Without me. On my birthday. That's when something inside me died. The part that kept hoping, kept making excuses for them, kept believing that blood meant anything at all. That part shriveled up and turned to ash. And something else took its place. Something cold and calculating. If they could forget me while I was dying, I could make sure they remembered me when I lived. In month 5, I had a double mastectomy. They removed both breasts, the lymph nodes, everything the cancer had touched. I woke up in recovery feeling like I'd been hollowed out. Mom had promised to be there. She wasn't. Victoria had promised to be there. She wasn't. Marcus didn't even know it was happening. A nurse friend from work, Amy, sat with me instead. She held my hand when I woke up crying, helped me to the bathroom when I couldn't stand alone, stayed overnight in the chair beside my bed. "Where's your family?" she asked gently. "Busy," I said. She squeezed my hand. I'm sorry. I spent 4 days in the hospital. Nobody visited. On the day I was discharged, Amy drove me home, helped me up the stairs to my apartment, made sure I had food and water and medications within reach. Call me if you need anything, she said. Day or night. Promise me. I promised. And I meant it. Because Amy, this woman I'd worked with for 3 years, had shown me more love in 4 days than my family had shown me in 5 months. Recovery from surgery was brutal. But it gave me time to think. Time to plan. I'd spent my whole life taking care of everyone else. Being the responsible one. The helper. The giver. And what had it gotten me? Abandonment when I needed them most. I started going through my records. Bank statements. Text messages. Emails. Receipts. I documented everything. The $15,000 I'd loaned Marcus over the years, none of which he'd paid back. The hundreds of hours I'd spent helping Mom, driving her places, managing her affairs. The countless times I'd babysat for Victoria, covered shifts for her, given her money when Derek's business had hit rough patches. I'd given and given and given. And they'd taken and taken and taken. And now, when I had nothing left to give, they'd discarded me like trash. But I had something they didn't know about. Something I'd been quietly building for years. My father, who'd left when I was 12, had died 7 years ago. He'd been wealthy, made a fortune in commercial real estate. And he'd left everything to his children in a trust, to be distributed when the youngest turned 35. Marcus had turned 35 2 months ago. The trust was worth $2. $3 million, to be split 3 ways. Victoria didn't know. Marcus didn't know. Mom didn't know. Only I knew, because I was the executor. Dad had named me because I was the responsible one. The one he trusted to handle things fairly. I'd been planning to distribute the money quietly, avoiding drama. Give everyone their share and be done with it. But now? Now I had a better idea. Month 8. The chemotherapy ended. The radiation finished. My scans came back clean. The cancer was in remission. I'd survived. Despite everything, despite doing most of it alone, I'd survived. My hair started growing back, dark and short. My energy slowly returned. I began to feel human again. More than human, I felt reborn. Like I'd walked through fire and come out forged in steel. I scheduled a family dinner. Said I had important news to share. For once, everyone showed up. We met at Mom's house, around the same dining table where we'd eaten countless meals when I was growing up. Victoria arrived in designer clothes. Marcus slouched and looking like he'd just rolled out of bed. Mom fussed in the kitchen. You look good, Victoria said, hugging me briefly. See? I knew you'd be fine. Marcus nodded at me. Glad you're not dead. Such warmth. Such love. We sat down to eat. Pot roast, Mom's specialty. I'd eaten it 1,000 times, but tonight it tasted like cardboard. Or maybe I'd just changed too much to enjoy it anymore. So, Mom said, smiling. What's the big news? I put down my fork. I'm in remission. Cheers. Hugs. We knew you could do it. You're so strong. Thank God. I let them celebrate for a minute. Then I continued. I wanted to thank you all for your support during this difficult time. The room went quiet. I saw Victoria glance at Derek. I saw Marcus shift uncomfortably. You were there for me in so many ways, I continued, my voice dripping with sweetness I didn't feel. Mom, you were such a rock. Always checking in, always making sure I had what I needed. Mom beamed. Of course, honey. That's what mothers do. And Victoria, you were incredible. Taking time out of your busy schedule to visit, to help, to just be there. Victoria nodded enthusiastically. Family comes first, always. And Marcus? I turned to my brother. You really showed me what brotherhood means. He grunted something that might have been agreement. So I wanted to tell you all in person about something else. Dad's trust has matured. The money is ready to be distributed. The air in the room changed instantly. I could see the calculations happening behind their eyes. Victoria sat up straighter. Marcus leaned forward. Mom's smile widened. There's $2.3 million, I said. Split 3 ways, that's about $767,000 each. Oh my God, Victoria whispered. That's life-changing, Mom said. Marcus actually smiled. It is, I agreed. And I've thought very carefully about how to handle the distribution. I pulled out 3 envelopes from my bag. Thick, official-looking envelopes. These contain all the paperwork. You'll need to sign some forms, provide some information, and the money will be transferred within 30 days. I handed an envelope to each of them. They tore into them immediately. And that's when the trap sprung. Inside each envelope wasn't paperwork for receiving money. It was an itemized bill. For Victoria, every hour of babysitting, calculated at market rate. Every loan I'd given her. Every expense I'd covered. With interest. Total, $47,000. For Marcus, every loan, every time I'd paid his rent, every dollar I'd given him over the years. With interest. Total, $23,000. For Mom. Every hour of care, every errand, every medical appointment, every bill I'd paid, calculated at the rate a professional home health aide would charge. Total, $86,000. The silence was deafening. What is this? Victoria asked, her voice dangerous. This is what you owe me, I said calmly. These are the debts you've accumulated over the years. I've been keeping track. This is insane, Marcus said, throwing the paper down. I'm not paying this. You don't have to, I said. It's just information. An accounting of our relationship, if you will. Where's the trust money? Mom demanded. I smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. There is no trust money. The room exploded. What do you mean there's no money? You said. This is ridiculous. I waited for them to quiet down. It took a while. There is a trust, I continued. Dad did leave money. But here's the thing about trusts. The executor has discretionary power over distribution, especially when there are concerns about the beneficiary's ability to handle large sums responsibly. I pulled out another set of papers. Real ones, this time. I've consulted with the trust attorneys. Given Marcus's history of financial irresponsibility, Victoria's tendency toward excessive spending, and questions about undue influence from family members, I've decided to restructure the distribution. You can't do that. Victoria shrieked. Actually, I can. I'm the executor. I have a fiduciary duty to protect the assets. This is because we didn't visit you enough? Are you serious? Marcus looked genuinely confused, as if he couldn't connect his actions to consequences. No, I said quietly. This is because you abandoned me. Because when I was dying, you couldn't be bothered. Because my birthday didn't matter. Because I spent 8 months fighting for my life while you all went on with yours like I didn't exist. That's not fair, Mom said, tears starting. I wanted to be there. You just had other priorities. I understand. I really do. So now, I have other priorities too. So what? Victoria's face was red. You're just keeping all the money out of spite? No, I said. I'm donating it. Another explosion of voices. The entire trust will be donated to cancer research and patient support funds. Organizations that help people who don't have family support. People like me. You vindictive bitch, Victoria hissed. And there it was. The truth beneath the veneer. Probably, I agreed. But at least I'm honest about it. I'm not the one who posted #blessed family photos while her sister was vomiting from chemotherapy alone. I'm not the one who said feel better to a cancer diagnosis. I'm not the one who couldn't be bothered to show up to a double mastectomy. We have lives. Victoria shouted. We have responsibilities. The world doesn't revolve around you. You're right, I said. It doesn't. That's exactly my point. So don't expect my world to revolve around you anymore either. I stood up. Dinner was over. Sarah, please, Mom was crying now. Don't do this. We're family. No, I said. Family shows up. Family cares. Family doesn't abandon you when you need them most. You're just people I happen to share DNA with. And that doesn't mean anything anymore. I walked out. Behind me, I could hear them screaming, crying, calling me names. I didn't look back. The call started immediately. Mom called 20 times that first night. I blocked her number. Victoria sent texts ranging from apologetic to threatening. Please, Sarah, we can talk about this. You're going to regret this. I'll sue you. Derek's lawyer says. I blocked her too. Marcus showed up at my apartment drunk, pounding on the door. You owe me that money. Dad wanted me to have it. I called the cops. He was arrested for public intoxication and disturbing the peace. For a week, my phone was a war zone. Then I changed my number. The trust attorneys confirmed everything was legal. My father had given me full discretionary power precisely because he'd seen what kind of people Victoria and Marcus were. He'd known Mom would let them manipulate her. He'd trusted me to do the right thing. I was doing the right thing. Just not the thing they wanted. Word spread through the extended family. Aunts and uncles called, trying to mediate. Cousins messaged me on social media, some supporting me, others telling me I was heartless. I didn't care. I'd learned that other people's opinions meant nothing when you'd already walked through hell alone. I went back to work part-time. My colleagues welcomed me back with tears and hugs. They'd never stopped checking on me. They'd never abandoned me. These people, who I'd worked with, who I wasn't related to by blood, they were my real family. I started volunteering at the cancer center. I sat with patients during their treatments. I held hands with people who were scared and alone. I became what I'd needed and never had. And it healed me in ways I hadn't expected. Victoria's marriage fell apart. Turned out Derek had been having an affair for over a year. The divorce was messy. She called me from a blocked number, asking for money. I know you're mad, but I'm about to lose the house. Please, Sarah. For the kids. I didn't answer. She made her choices. I made mine. Marcus got evicted from Mom's basement after they had a massive fight. He couch-surfed for a while, then last I heard, he moved in with some girlfriend in another state. He sent me one email, I hope you're happy. You destroyed this family. I didn't respond. The family was destroyed long before I came along. I just stopped pretending it was whole. Mom tried the hardest. She wrote letters. She showed up at the clinic. She cried and pleaded and promised she'd change. I know I failed you, she said. I know I should have been there. But I'm still your mother. Doesn't that mean anything? It did mean something. It meant I'd spent my entire life waiting for her to choose me, and she never had. Not when I was healthy. Not when I was dying. And not now. You're right, I told her during the last conversation we had. You're my mother. And you should have been there. The fact that you weren't tells me everything I need to know. What do you want from me? She asked. Nothing, I said. I don't want anything from you anymore. That's the point. I'm writing this from my new apartment. Bigger than the old one. In a better neighborhood. I furnished it exactly how I wanted, no compromises, no consideration for anyone else's taste. My hair has grown back curly. I like it better this way. I'm cancer-free. Every scan comes back clean. I'll be monitored for the rest of my life, but for now, I'm healthy. I'm not the same person I was before. That person died in a hospital bed, surrounded by silence. This person, the one who came back, she's harder. Less trusting. But also more honest. I don't regret what I did. Sometimes people ask me if I feel guilty. The truth? No. Not even a little. They taught me that love is conditional. That family is only there when it's convenient. That I'd spend my life giving to people who would never give back. So I stopped giving. And I took something from them instead, not money, but the illusion that they were good people. The comfortable lie they told themselves that they were there for me, that they cared, that family meant something. I made them face the truth. And they hated me for it. But I can live with that. I've lived through worse. Here's what I learned from dying and coming back. You teach people how to treat you. For 38 years, I taught my family that my needs didn't matter. That I would always be there, regardless of whether they were there for me. That they could take and take and take, and I would keep giving. The cancer didn't change them. It revealed them. When everything else stripped away, the obligations, the social niceties, the family dinners and birthday cards, what was left was the truth. They didn't actually care about me. Not enough to show up. Not enough to sacrifice their comfort for my survival. And once I saw that truth, I couldn't unsee it. People say I should forgive them. That holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. But forgiveness isn't mandatory. It's not something you owe anyone, especially people who hurt you deliberately or through negligence so profound it might as well be deliberate. I don't hold on to anger. I simply hold on to boundaries. They are not welcome in my life. Not their apologies. Not their regrets. Not their sudden realization now that the money's gone that maybe they should have treated me better. I don't need them. I proved that lying on a bathroom floor at 3 a.m., too sick to stand, with nobody coming to help me. I proved that sitting alone in an infusion chair, watching poison drip into my veins. I proved that waking up from surgery, half of my body carved away, with only strangers who cared more than family. I don't need them. And that realization was the most liberating thing that ever happened to me. You might think the revenge was the money. Taking away their inheritance. Watching them realize they'd gambled on my death and lost. But that wasn't the revenge. That was just justice. The real revenge is this: I'm happy. I'm genuinely, authentically happy in ways I never was before. I have friends who actually show up. I have a community at the cancer center. I have work that matters. I have a life that's mine, not something I'm living for other people's approval. The real revenge is that they have to live with knowing they had someone in their life who would have done anything for them, and they threw it away. They have to live with the fact that when it mattered most, they failed. And they can't take that back. Victoria's divorced and struggling. Marcus is a mess. Mom is alone, facing her own declining health with no daughter to help her through it. And yes, part of me feels a grim satisfaction in that. Not because I want them to suffer. But because they're experiencing consequences for the first time in their lives. Because they're feeling what it's like to need help and not get it. Because karma is real, and sometimes you are the instrument of karma. Don't you miss them? Sometimes. I miss the idea of them. I miss having a family that felt safe. But I never actually had that. I just thought I did. So what I really miss is the illusion. What if they really change? Then good for them. But they'll do it without me. I'm not a rehabilitation center for emotionally stunted adults. They can grow on their own time. What if you get sick again? Then I'll handle it the same way I did before, without them. Except this time, I won't be waiting for them to show up. I won't be disappointed when they don't call. I already know who I can count on, and it's not them. Don't you believe in second chances? I believe you get the chances you earn. They had 8 months. 8 months where they could have shown up, could have proven they cared, could have been family. Every single day of those 8 months was a chance. They chose not to take it. That's on them. Some people are meant to be in your life forever. Some people are meant to teach you lessons. My family taught me the most important lesson of all. That you can't make people love you, no matter how much you give them. That blood means nothing if there's no love behind it. That sometimes the family you choose is better than the family you're born into. I don't regret cutting them off. I regret not doing it sooner. I don't regret the money. I regret the years I wasted trying to earn love from people who weren't capable of giving it. I don't regret surviving. I regret that I had to almost die to realize how to live. But now I know. Now I'm free. Now I'm living for me, not for them. And that's the best revenge of all, not needing them to be sorry, not needing them to change, not needing them at all. I survived cancer. I survived abandonment. I survived the death of my old self and the birth of someone stronger. And I'll keep surviving, long after they've forgotten me. Because that's what I do. I survive. And I win. I was at the grocery store on a Saturday morning, standing in the produce section, examining avocados the way I'd learned from a YouTube video, when I heard her voice. Sarah? I didn't turn around immediately. I knew that voice. It had called me 1,000 times, for help, for favors, for things she needed. But I hadn't heard it in 2 years. Sarah, I know you heard me. I turned slowly. Victoria stood there with her shopping cart, looking nothing like the polished, perfect woman I'd grown up envying. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. She wore yoga pants and an oversized sweatshirt. No makeup. The designer purse was gone, replaced with a generic canvas bag. Hello, Victoria, I said, my voice neutral. Can we talk? Please? Her eyes were red-rimmed. She'd been crying. Or maybe she just looked like that now. I don't think we have anything to say to each other. 5 minutes. Just give me 5 minutes. Her voice cracked. Please. Against my better judgment, I nodded. We moved to a quiet corner near the deli counter, behind a display of artisanal cheeses neither of us could probably afford anymore. Well, she couldn't. I was doing fine. I'm sorry, she said immediately. The words tumbled out like she'd been holding them back for years. I'm so sorry, Sarah. For everything. For not being there. For being selfish. For being a terrible sister. I waited. I'd learned that silence could be more powerful than any words. The divorce finalized last month, she continued. I lost the house. Derek got everything because I signed a prenup when I was young and stupid. The kids are with me in a 2-bedroom apartment. I'm working 2 jobs just to make rent. I'm sorry to hear that, I said. And surprisingly, I meant it. Not because I wanted to help her, but because I genuinely didn't wish suffering on her. I just didn't want to be part of her life anymore. I know you don't owe me anything, she said. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. But I need you to know that I think about you every day. About what I did. What I didn't do. I was a coward, Sarah. I couldn't handle seeing you sick. It scared me. It made everything feel too real. So you abandoned me. Yes. She didn't try to argue. I abandoned you. And I've lost everything because of it. My marriage. My lifestyle. My family. You. You lost those things because of your choices, I said quietly. Not because of me. I know. I know that now. Therapy has helped me see a lot of things. She laughed bitterly. Court-mandated therapy, actually. Part of the custody arrangement. Derek's lawyers painted me as unstable. I didn't ask for details. It wasn't my problem anymore. I'm not asking you to let me back into your life, Victoria said. I know I don't have that right. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry. That I understand what I did was unforgivable. And that I'm proud of you. For surviving. For being strong enough to cut us out. You deserved better than what we gave you. It was the first genuine thing I'd heard her say in years. Maybe ever. Thank you for saying that, I replied. I hope you figure things out, Victoria. I really do. But you're right, I can't have you in my life. Not anymore. She nodded, tears streaming down her face now. I understand. Take care of yourself, Sarah. You too. I walked away. My hands were shaking, but not from weakness. From the realization that her apology, while probably genuine, didn't change anything. Some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt. And that was okay. Dr. Morrison looked at me over her reading glasses. How did that encounter make you feel? I'd started therapy a year ago, not because I felt guilty, but because I wanted to understand myself better. To make sure I was healing in healthy ways, not just replacing one dysfunction with another. Honestly? Nothing. Maybe a little sad for her. But not sad enough to want to fix it. And you're comfortable with that? Yes. Should I not be? Dr. Morrison smiled. There's no should in feelings, Sarah. I'm just curious about your process. You've done a lot of work on boundaries. This was a test of those boundaries. I held them, I said. That feels like a victory. It is a victory. She made a note on her pad. Tell me about your life now. How are things at work? I'd been promoted 6 months ago to lead nurse practitioner at the clinic. I was also teaching part-time at the university, training the next generation of healthcare workers. I told them stories from my practice, but I also told them about being a patient. About what it feels like to be vulnerable, to be scared, to need help. It's good, I said. Really good. I'm helping develop a program for cancer patients who don't have family support. We're partnering with the Oncology Center to provide patient advocates, transportation, meal delivery, companionship during treatments. The program you wished existed when you were sick. Exactly. We launched 3 months ago. We've already helped 43 patients. One woman told me last week that her advocate was the only person who came to her final chemo session. She said it made all the difference. I felt my throat tighten. That could have been me. Alone for that final treatment, with nobody to celebrate with. But it wasn't you, Dr. Morrison said gently. You had Amy. You had your colleagues. I did. I was lucky, in a weird way. And now I'm making sure others have that too. How does that feel? Like I'm taking something terrible and making it mean something. Like my suffering wasn't wasted. That's powerful, Sarah. That's healing that goes beyond yourself. 3 months after seeing Victoria, I ran into Marcus. This time, it wasn't accidental. He'd been waiting outside my apartment building when I came home from work. He looked rough, gaunt, with dark circles under his eyes, wearing clothes that hadn't been washed in days. Marcus, I said, stopping a safe distance away. You need to leave. I just need to talk to you. 5 minutes. Please, Sarah. No. I'm calling the police if you don't leave now. I'm homeless. The words came out flat, emotionless. I'd been living in my car for 2 months. Before that, the girlfriend kicked me out. Before that, it doesn't matter. Everything fell apart. I felt a flicker of something. Not pity, exactly. More like recognition of shared humanity, even with someone who'd hurt me. I'm sorry to hear that, I said carefully. There are resources. Shelters. Programs. I can give you some numbers. I don't want numbers. His voice rose, then broke. I want my sister. I want my family back. I know I fucked up. I know I was a shitty brother. But I'm asking you, begging you, please. Help me. No. The word hung in the air between us. No? He looked genuinely shocked, like he couldn't comprehend that I would refuse him. No, I repeated, more firmly. You had 8 months to help me when I was dying, Marcus. You sent a text that said feel better. Now you want me to save you? I was young. You were 32. I didn't know how to handle it. You didn't try. I'm sorry. He was shouting now. What more do you want? I'm sorry, okay? I'm fucking sorry. I was a coward and a selfish asshole and I took you for granted. I'm sorry. I believe you, I said. But sorry doesn't obligate me to help you. Sorry doesn't erase the past. Sorry is just a word you're saying because now you need something. So that's it? You're just going to watch me suffer? No, I said. I'm going to walk into my apartment and live my life. What you do with yours is your choice, just like abandoning me was your choice. You're an adult, Marcus. Figure it out. I walked past him. He grabbed my arm, not hard, but enough to make me stop. Let go of me, I said, my voice ice. He did, immediately. Sarah, please. I have nowhere else to go. Mom won't help me. Victoria won't help me. You're all I have left. Then you have nothing, I said. Because I'm not doing this. Not again. Not ever again. I went inside and locked the door. I watched from my window as he stood there for 10 minutes, then finally walked away, shoulders slumped, looking every bit as lost as he probably felt. I didn't cry. I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. Mom tried one more time about 6 months ago. She didn't show up. She didn't write letters. She called from a hospital. A nurse called first, actually. Ms. Grant? This is St. Mary's Hospital. Your mother has been admitted. She's asking for you. She's listed you as her emergency contact. My first thought was, she never changed it. After everything, she never updated her paperwork. My second thought was, that's not my problem. I'm no longer her emergency contact, I said. You'll need to reach out to her other children. Victoria Grant or Marcus Grant. She specifically asked for you, ma'am. She's insisting. What's wrong with her? She's had a stroke. Moderate severity. She's stable, but she'll need significant rehabilitation and care. The words hit me harder than I expected. A stroke. Mom was sick. Really sick. And I felt nothing. No panic. No urge to rush to the hospital. Just a distant, clinical curiosity about her prognosis. I understand, I said. But I'm not able to help. Please contact her other children. Ms. Grant, I need to be frank with you. If she doesn't have family support, we'll have to place her in a county facility. The care there is minimal. I understand, I repeated. I'm sorry, but I can't help. I hung up. Then I sat down on my couch and waited for the guilt to come. It didn't. I told Amy about it the next day over coffee. She'd become my closest friend, the sister I'd chosen rather than the one I'd been born with. How do you feel about it? She asked carefully. I don't know. I keep waiting to feel something. Guilt. Regret. Sadness. But there's just nothing. Maybe nothing is what you're supposed to feel. That makes me sound like a monster. Does it? Amy stirred her coffee slowly. Sarah, you spent 8 months fighting for your life while your mother couldn't be bothered to drive you to appointments. You almost died alone because she was too busy. Now she's sick and expects you to drop everything and take care of her. Why would you feel obligated? Because she's my mother. So? You were her daughter. When did that matter? The question hung in the air. When had it mattered? When had being her daughter been enough to make her show up? Never, I said quietly. It never mattered enough. Then you have your answer. Amy reached across the table and squeezed my hand. You're not a monster for having boundaries. You're not cruel for protecting yourself. You already almost died once. Don't let them kill the person you've become. But Amy's words didn't completely settle it. Late that night, alone in my apartment, I found myself thinking about Mom. About her lying in a hospital bed, probably scared, probably alone. The way I'd been alone. I thought about Victoria's apology in the grocery store. About Marcus begging outside my apartment. About Mom's unchanged emergency contact form. And I asked myself the hardest question, was I becoming the kind of person who lets people suffer? I spent hours with that question. I paced my apartment. I made tea I didn't drink. I stared out the window at the city lights. And finally, I realized something. There's a difference between letting someone suffer and refusing to sacrifice yourself to prevent their suffering. Mom's stroke wasn't my fault. Her lack of support system wasn't my fault. The consequences of a lifetime of taking people for granted weren't my fault. I could feel compassion for her situation without making it my responsibility. I could hope she got the care she needed without being the one to provide it. I could be sorry she was alone without forgetting that she'd made me feel alone when I needed her most. These things could all be true at the same time. I wrote her a letter. I never sent it, but writing it helped me process everything. It said, Dear Mom. I heard about your stroke. I'm sorry you're going through this. I hope you get good care and that your recovery goes well. I'm not coming. Not because I want you to suffer, but because I can't be the person who saves you anymore. I spent my whole life being that person, for you, for Victoria, for Marcus. And when I needed saving, none of you were there. You taught me that love is conditional. That family shows up only when it's convenient. That some people are givers and some people are takers, and I was always supposed to be the giver. But I'm done with that lesson now. I've learned a better one, that I matter too. That my needs are valid. That I don't owe anyone my life just because we share blood. I hope Victoria or Marcus step up for you the way you needed me to step up for them. I hope you find the support you need. But it won't be from me. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not even hurt. I'm just done. I wish you well, but from a distance. A permanent distance. Sarah. I folded the letter and put it in a drawer with all the other unsent letters I'd written over the years. Letters to Dad, apologizing for not being enough to make him stay. Letters to my family, begging them to love me. Letters to my younger self, promising her that one day, she'd be free. This would be the last unsent letter. Because I was done apologizing. Done begging. Done promising. I was just done. I got a call from an estate attorney I'd never heard of. Mom had died. Complications from the stroke, followed by pneumonia. She'd been in a county facility, just like the nurse had warned. She'd died alone. Victoria and Marcus had apparently visited once, early on, then stopped coming. I'm calling because you're listed as the executor of her estate, the attorney said. I am? Yes. She never changed it. The will is 15 years old. Of course she hadn't changed it. That would have required acknowledging that our relationship had changed, that I was no longer the reliable daughter who handled everything. The estate was small. The house had been sold years ago to pay off debts. There was about $8,000 in savings, some jewelry, personal effects. "What would you like to do?" the attorney asked. I thought about it for a long time. Then I said, "Split the money between Victoria and Marcus. Donate the jewelry to a charity that helps low-income women. The personal effects, box them up and ask Victoria and Marcus if they want anything. Whatever they don't want, donate or dispose of. And the funeral arrangements? I'll pay for a simple cremation. No service. No obituary. Just, let her rest." "You're not planning to attend?" "No." There was a pause. "If you don't mind my saying, Ms. Grant, that's remarkably generous considering I've reviewed the file and seen the complications in your family relationships." "It's not generosity," I said. "It's closure. I don't need her money. I don't need her things. I don't need to make a statement by leaving her with nothing. I just need it to be over." "I understand. I'll handle everything." When I hung up, I realized I felt relieved. Not sad. Not guilty. Just relieved that there were no more chances for them to hurt me, no more waiting for phone calls that would never come, no more hoping for apologies that didn't matter anyway. It was truly over. That evening, I went to the cancer center for my volunteer shift. I sat with a woman named Jennifer who was going through her third round of chemo. Her husband had left her 2 months after her diagnosis. Her kids were grown and lived across the country. She was doing this alone. "Thank you for being here," she said, her voice weak. "You have no idea what it means." "I do, actually," I said. "I know exactly what it means." We talked for hours. About fear. About loneliness. About the strange gift of discovering who really loves you when everything else falls away. About surviving not just the cancer, but the betrayal that often comes with it. "How did you get through it?" she asked. I learned that I was stronger than I thought. And I learned that family isn't who you're born to, it's who shows up. "Do you ever regret cutting them off?" "No," I said honestly. "I regret that it was necessary. I regret that they couldn't be who I needed them to be. But I don't regret choosing myself." Jennifer squeezed my hand. "You're brave." "No," I said. "I'm just done being sacrificed." Today is 5 years since my diagnosis. 5 years cancer-free. In the medical world, this is a milestone, the magic number when they start using the word cured instead of remission. I celebrated by running a 5K for cancer research. My hair, which grew back curly and wild, bounced as I ran. My reconstructed chest didn't hurt. My body, scarred and rebuilt, carried me across the finish line. Amy was there. My colleagues from work were there. The friends I'd made through volunteering were there. The survivors I'd sat with during their treatments were there. My family wasn't there. Because I don't have a family anymore. Not in the traditional sense. But I have something better. I have people who chose to love me, not because they had to, but because they wanted to. People who showed up. People who stayed. And I have myself. The self I discovered when everything else was stripped away. The self who is enough, all by herself. If you're reading this, or watching this, or however you're consuming this story, and you see yourself in it, I want you to know something. You don't owe anyone your suffering. You don't owe anyone forgiveness. You don't owe anyone a relationship just because you share DNA. If your family abandoned you, if they failed you, if they hurt you, you are allowed to walk away. You are allowed to build a new life without them. You are allowed to be angry, to grieve, to protect yourself. And you are allowed to thrive without them. People will judge you. They'll call you heartless. They'll say you're bitter, vindictive, cruel. They'll tell you that family is everything, that you should forgive, that you'll regret it someday. They're wrong. The only thing I regret is not doing it sooner. The only thing I wish I could change is that I spent so many years waiting for people who were never going to show up. Your family should be your safe place. If they're not, you're allowed to find a new one. I did. And it saved my life. I look at myself in the mirror now and I see someone I'm proud of. Scars and all. Literally and figuratively. My chest bears the marks of surgery. My body bears the marks of chemotherapy. My heart bears the marks of abandonment. But I'm still here. I'm still standing. I'm still fighting, not against cancer anymore, but for something better. For a life that's mine. For connections that are real. For a future that doesn't include people who don't value me. I survived my family. And that might be the hardest thing I ever survived. But I did it. And if you need to do it too, you can. You're stronger than you think. You're worth more than they made you feel. You deserve better than what they gave you. So take it. Take your life back. Take your power back. Take your happiness back. And don't look back. I didn't. And I've never been happier.